Chesapeake, Virginia, 1650 AM WHKT presents Sports Scene. Sports Scene features local, regional, and nationally acclaimed guests and excellent interviews. Follow Sports Scene on Twitter at Greg Bick and at GJBTV.com. Now here is Greg Bickaveris.
All right, thank you very much, Ken Johnson. Glad you're with us for this Wednesday, March 15th, right? Still a little bit left of winter, and of course we're joined in the studio today by two special guests. We'll get to them in just a few moments as well. We are live as always right here on this March 15th Sports Scene and Interview Show each Wednesday from 12 to 1. Also sports highlights on nnpstv.com. Tell your friends about 1650 on Twitter, at Greg Bick, at Sports Highlight, at GJBTV, and HROnline.com. Thank you to our military for what you do each and every day. Great guest lineup. Rick Kiefner and Doug Parsons. More on them a little bit later. Sponsors on GJBTV.com and Marketplace sponsors. Guest lineup presented by Mi Casita Mexican Restaurant with two great locations in Virginia Beach. Phone line presented by Outback Steakhouse on Kempsville Road in Virginia Beach. Wizards on 1650 Select Games. March Madness is here. Spring training in baseball. Sponsors this month on this show and WHKT Spaghetti Eddies, Crawl Space Stores, Finks, Mi Hogar, Newport News Greek Festival as well. Great interviews, business segments, highlights, commentary, what teased me off. Thank you for making the habit to listen to Sports Scene each Wednesday from 12 to 1, and we love our regulars and newcomers as well. 1650 AM on the radio dial, tunein.com, type in WHKT to listen on your phone or your computer. Stay tuned.
Oh, yeah, this is the place where Washington Wizards basketball comes alive on the radio.
John Wall, edge of the circle, cuts to his right, splits the defenders, drives, 360 under the basket, makes and scores!
Follow John Wall, the Wizards, all season long on their journey through the NBA.
Catch and shoot for three, it's there! It's there!
Check it on Twitter at Dave J Sports or at GC Talks. It is the hashtag radio party right here on your home for Washington Wizards basketball.
Listen on 1650 AM, The Answer.
Mi Hogar is your restaurant for the finest Mexican cuisine in Hampton Roads. At Mi Hogar, everything is prepared fresh in a casual atmosphere. Enjoy traditional favorites such as quesadillas, tacos, burritos, and fajitas, as well as refreshing beverages. Mi Hogar has two locations, 4201 Granby Street in Norfolk and 801 North Battlefield Boulevard in Chesapeake. Call ahead at 640-7705. At Mi Hogar, there is something for everyone.
Catch up on archived editions of Sports Scene by going to GJBTV.com and clicking the YouTube image on the homepage. Now back to Sports Scene on 1650 AM and TuneIn.com.
All right, welcome back to Sports Scene right here live on this March 15th. It's a pleasure to have in studio with me today Rick Kiefner, a longtime Old Dominion broadcaster, and also Doug Parsons with the Black Pelican Restaurant in Chesapeake. Gentlemen, welcome. Rick, how are you? And tell us about your background.
A little bit. Looking forward to being with you here today. Old Dominion graduate, been with Old Dominion, started, I guess, the basketball broadcast in 1970 with Dick Frame and Dick Lamb, and been involved with Old Dominion broadcast since then.
Doug?
Thanks for having me here today, guys. Pleasure to be here. I'm general manager at the Black Pelican Seafood Company, located in the heart of Greenbrier, right outside of Greenbrier Mall, bringing you fresh seafood daily.
Open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner.
Absolutely.
All right. Glad you're here. We'll say it's the best restaurant in Chesapeake. All right, folks, sit back and relax on 1650 AM, tunein.com. The three of us are going to go down and kind of give us our predictions. You know, it's no exact science. I don't think anybody's ever gotten a perfect bracket, but we're going to try right now. All right, let's start off with the East, the West, the Midwest, and the South. Villanova versus Mount St. Mary's. Rick Kiefner.
That's got to be Villanova. You know, Mount St. Mary's had a big game last night. They really looked good in a 1-point win over the University of New Orleans. But, you know, I think the bubble's going to burst for the Mounts, especially trying to get up to Buffalo because they had to leave with all that bad weather, et cetera. But Villanova, the defending champion, number 1 seed overall, I go with Villanova.
Got to give props to Mount St. Mary's, but, you know, Villanova trying for that back-to-back national championship. I got to go Villanova.
Same here. I'm going to go with Villanova. I've seen them play before. Excellent team. And, of course, they won the national championship as well. All right, a little bit closer to home, Wisconsin versus Virginia Tech. Rick.
This is a close one, 8-9. I think Wisconsin was really undervalued as far as, they were the number one group in the Big Ten, and they're ranked number 8. You see Minnesota was ranked number 5. I don't understand how the committee did that, but, for the first time in a long time for Virginia Tech to make the NCAAs. Wisconsin's been there for the last several years. Virginia Tech, I think, might be a deer in the headlights. I'm going with the Badgers of Wisconsin.
Yeah, I'm with you on that too. Wisconsin, they're an excellent ball club there. A lot of my family is going to hate that I'm not picking Virginia Tech here, but I got to go with the top team there. That's going to be Wisconsin.
There you go. I'm also going to take Wisconsin. Virginia Tech's coach is familiar with Wisconsin because he used to coach Marquette as well. All right, another state school, Virginia versus UNC Wilmington. Virginia, of course, has had better teams, but this is an underachieving team that could peak for the NCAA tournament.
UNC Wilmington, with new coach Kevin Keats, et cetera. A lot of people think this might be one of the famous 12 upsets versus number 5, but I'm going to go with Virginia. They've had an up and down season. They play great defense, and I think today for this game in Orlando, it's going to be the defense of Virginia over the offense of Wilmington.
We saw what Virginia did to North Carolina a few weeks back. They bring that defense to the court. I don't see too many teams standing in their way. I'm going to go Virginia in this one.
Great weather down there as well. I'm going to go with UVA, too. Good luck to the Cavaliers and UNC Wilmington from the Colonial Athletic Association. All right, Florida and East Tennessee.
That game is also in Orlando, and since it is in Orlando, they're going to have a lot of Gator fans there. I'm going with Florida over East Tennessee State.
Yeah, home game for the Gators, so to speak. I believe they bring a little more to the table than East Tennessee can handle, so I'm going to go Florida.
Yep, Florida over East Tennessee State. SMU without Larry Brown. Of course, Rick, he coached there for a long time, former NBA coach, also coached at UCLA one time against
Kansas.
Against the winner of Providence USC. That should be an excellent matchup tonight.
And I think USC is going to win that game tonight. They've got a lot of good players. They've had a good recruiting from Andy Elford. I think Elford is the coach over there. But I'm going to go with Southern Methodist on that one.
SMU.
All right, I'm going to go for the dark horse. I'm going to go with USC. But of course they've got to win tonight, as we mentioned. All right, Baylor, excellent program in all sports against New Mexico State.
Baylor's had an up and down season. When you think they're going to be, just out of sight, they wind up losing. They're 25-7. That game in Tulsa, I'm going to go with Baylor.
Yeah, Greg, you hit it. They do excel in a lot of different programs there at Baylor, and I think they're going to excel in this game as well. I'll go Baylor.
Excellent program there as well. All right, we're talking about the East right now. Greg Bicaveras along with Rick Kiefner and Doug Parsons on 1650 AM, tunein.com. Type in WHKT to listen on your phone or your computer right here at 1214. Excellent game coming up here as well. South Carolina versus Marquette.
Toss-up game. The reason I'm going with the Gamecocks, it's kind of a home court advantage. They're playing down in Greenville, South Carolina. So I'm going to go in the first round with the Gamecocks of South Carolina.
I got my first upset so far in this bracket. I'm going to go Marquette over South Carolina. Just a hunch.
I agree with you, Doug, as well. I'm going to take Marquette, too, as well. All right, this should be pretty easy. Duke versus Troy.
Duke.
Oh, Blue Devils. They're peaking at the right time.
They sure are, of course. All right, that was the East. Let's move over to the West. Gonzaga always gets there, but the key with them is to evolve. Rick Kiefner, can they evolve against South Dakota State?
I think this is going to be a big win for Gonzaga against South Dakota State. South Dakota State 18-6 overall. The game's in Salt Lake City, but I'm going to go with Gonzaga. And
remember, the Final Four this year will be in Phoenix, Arizona. Of course, Doug, your thoughts?
I think Gonzaga continues to roll on this one. Gonzaga over South Dakota State.
There you go. Northwestern from the Big Ten, congratulations for making it against Vanderbilt from the SEC.
Again, another 8-9 matchup. Both teams really, really good academically. Northwestern, for the first time ever, they're one of those original 5 teams in Division I that now has gotten into the NCAA basketball tournament. They're taking on Vanderbilt. I think Vanderbilt basically has had a lot of experience, et cetera. Plus, my son-in-law is a graduate of Vanderbilt, so I'm going to go with the Commodores.
Yeah, I will take Vanderbilt too. I just think they have a little more experience here in the NCAA tournament, and it should be a good game, but I'm going to go with Vanderbilt.
I'm going to go with Northwestern from the Big Ten. Of course, Coach Collins used to play at Duke. His dad was the former coach, too, as well, with the Sixers. All right. Notre Dame, always a big name in football and basketball, against Princeton.
I think this is going to be a close game, 5 versus 12. A lot of people think Princeton in that 12 bracket can upset the 5 team, but I'm going to go with the Irish. They had a great tournament in the ACC, wound up losing to Duke, and they've got a lot of firepower. So I think it's going to be a closer game than most people realize, but I'm going to go with the Fighting Irish.
You know, if it was on St. Patrick's Day, that would make the decision a little easier, but it's close enough for me. I'm going to go with the luck of the Irish over Princeton.
There you go. All right. West Virginia versus Bucknell.
Another team, the Mountaineers, sometimes they look like world beaters. Other times they look like they're middle of the pack. But that game's up in Buffalo. I'm going to go with West Virginia.
I'm going to go West Virginia as well.
All right. I'm going to go with West Virginia. Hopefully Bucknell will win. I'm sorry. I do not like West Virginia. Nothing about that state. All right. Maryland versus Xavier. The Terps, of course, long time in the ACC. What do you think about them?
They're obviously in the Big Ten, 24-8 overall. That game in Orlando. Again, Maryland sometimes really looks good, and sometimes they don't look that great. But I'm going to go with the Terps.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Maryland in this one as well.
Yeah, Maryland's evolved well in the Big Ten, but they haven't gotten to the Final Four where they need to be. They won the national championship when they were in the ACC with Gary Williams. Xavier is missing one of their key players. I'm going to take the Terps. All right, this should be an excellent game as well. Florida State from the ACC versus Florida Gulf Coast.
And that game in Orlando, as far as college excitement and, not on the floor, but basically with the fans, etc., this might be the best game of all of the games in the NCAA. But Florida State's got. I'm going to go with them, 25-8, playing in that big tough ACC.
I agree. This is going to be a game of they're going to leave their heart and their blood, sweat, and tears there on the court, and I'm going to go Florida State over Gulf Coast.
Yep, Florida State, coached by the former Wizards coach, too, as well. All right, St. Mary's versus VCU. This will be tough for VCU playing out there. I'm going to take St. Mary's.
Yeah, I'm going with St. Mary's. Interesting, VCU in the last 7 years has played in the championship game of the conference that they are in. The last 5 years in the Atlantic 10, 2 years before that in the CAA. Obviously, they've done very well with the last 2 coaches they've had, but I think St. Mary's is ready for a big win over the Rams of ECU.
I'm going to go with the Virginia team here. I'm going to go Virginia Commonwealth.
Let's good luck to the Rams. All right, Arizona against North Dakota.
2 versus 15, go with the Wildcats of Arizona.
Absolutely, Wildcats. I think they're going to do some special things in this tournament.
All right, you're listening to Sports Scene, our March Madness special right here on 1650 AM. TuneIn.com, type in WHKT to listen on your phone or your computer. We're live at 12:19. Greg Bicoveris, Rick Kiefner, Doug Parsons, and Joe Daniel with you. All right, let's move to the Midwest. Kansas will take on either North Carolina Central or UC Davis.
I think it's going to be Kansas versus UC Davis, and obviously I'm going to go with Kansas.
I'm going to go with Kansas as well. They're no stranger to a number 1 seed, and I think they keep it rolling in the first round.
I agree, Kansas. This should be very intriguing. Miami from the ACC, coached by Coach Larinaga, the former George Mason coach, against Michigan State. Not one of the better Michigan State teams. I think Miami's in my opinion, is going to win. Rick Kiefner.
8-9, and Michigan State, I think, has something going for him. Coach Tom Izzo. I just like the way he coaches. He gets his team ready. He's had, he'll have 3 or 4 days, actually 5 days to prepare for Miami Hurricanes, and Miami's got some great athletes on their team. They're led by a freshman point guard, but I'm just going to go with the Michigan State Spartans.
Yeah, I agree that although the team may not be as good as some of the teams in the past, but you still have Izzo, and he counts for something. Let's go Michigan State.
There you go. All right. Iowa State, Nevada.
I've watched Iowa State, and I have liked them. They've got a good team, and they've got a great following. Their fans follow them. Do not know that much. Haven't seen Nevada much at all, but Iowa State in the Big 12 Conference, they play a tough schedule. I'm going to go with Iowa State. Cyclones.
I agree. Iowa State.
I also agree, Iowa State. Purdue, one of the hottest teams in the Big Ten against Vermont.
That game basically is 4 versus 13. I'm obviously go with the Boilermakers of Purdue.
Catamounts don't see action too often in the NCAA tournament, but Purdue does. I'm going with Purdue.
Yep, Purdue in the Big Ten. Every time I think about Vermont, Doug, I think about ice cream. I don't know what it is. All right, Creighton in Rhode Island.
Most people would think of maple syrup.
Oh, there you go.
You got ice cream, huh?
Yeah.
Creighton, Rhode Island. Rhode Island played Old Dominion. Old Dominion lost that game up in Rhode Island earlier in the basketball season. They had a lot of injuries in the beginning, and they're playing really tough. They beat VCU in the championship. I'm going to go with the Rams, Rhode Island University.
I'm going Rhode Island also.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Rhode Island it is. All right, Oregon against Iona.
Again, 3 versus 14. Oregon has been one of the top teams in the country. Obviously, they lost one of their outstanding players, shot blocker, but right now the Ducks in that for opening round.
Yeah, they are playing great ball right now, and I don't see Iona stopping them, Oregon.
I agree, Oregon as well. This should be an intriguing game, too. Michigan, of course, against Oklahoma State. Michigan had a lot of issues with their planes getting to D.C. during the Big Ten tournament. I'm going to take the Wolverines.
Likewise, that game is in Indianapolis and not too far for the Wolverine fans to travel. Oklahoma State could surprise them, but I think Michigan simply is playing really well right now.
Yeah, I think Michigan holds on to this one.
Right, and of course, you got to like the teams that have close by proximities to their campus as well. Louisville versus Jacksonville State. Louisville from the ACC.
Yeah, obviously this game is intriguing for me. I'm anxious to see Jacksonville State. I think last year they had a terrible record, and they fired their coach. Western Kentucky last year fired their coach. He wound up going to Jacksonville State and just turned things around in his first year, 20-14. But they just don't have the firepower to match up with the Cardinals of Louisville.
Yeah, big stage, big teams always step up. I'm going Louisville.
All right, that was the Midwest. Greg Picaveras, Rick Kiefner, Doug Parsons. Sports Scene, 1650 AM, tunein.com. Type in WHKT to listen to your phone or your computer. Glad you're with us. Also, Joe Daniel, the producer, as well. All right, let's move to the South. Some of the hot teams here. North Carolina versus Texas Southern.
I got to go with the Heels. Basically, another home court advantage for North Carolina. The game down in Greenville, South Carolina. The Heels fans travel very well, taking on a Texas Southern team. I think this is going to be a blowout.
Let's go Tar Heels.
Obviously, that's pretty safe right there as well. I'll take Carolina as well. All right, Arkansas versus Seton Hall. This should be an excellent game. I'm going to take Seton Hall. Rick Kiefner, who do you think?
Likewise, 8 versus 9. Seton Hall, 9th ranked. Arkansas Razorbacks, 8th ranked. That game in Greenville, South Carolina. I'm going to go with the Pirates of Seton Hall.
Yeah, this was a tough one for me, but I'm going with the Razorbacks.
There you go. All right, Minnesota from the Big Ten, the Younger Patino against Middle Tennessee.
Middle Tennessee State surprised everybody last year, beating Michigan State. This year, there is no surprise. Middle Tennessee State's got most of their players back. Their leading scorer, who did not play last year, sat out, is back playing this year. And I'm going for the conference foe for Old Dominion University. I hope they go deep in the NCAA brackets. Middle Tennessee State.
I agree. I'm going Middle Tennessee State as well. They're an excellent ball club, and like you say, most of the teams back from last year. I'm going with them.
Yep, always tough is Butler. They're always in there against Winthrop.
Butler, ranked number 4 in that bracket. I'm going to go with Butler over Winthrop.
I'm going Butler.
There you go. Also, we'll take Minnesota and Butler as well. All right, Cincinnati, perennial power against Kansas State.
Kansas State played well last night. They're going to have a couple of days rest, and it's kind of another toss-up. I think Kansas State, simply because they play in that Big 12 and it's always a tough conference. I'm going to go with the Wildcats of Kansas State.
I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bearcats on this one.
I agree. I'm going to take Cincinnati as well. All right, UCLA, always a power against Kent State.
If I told you I was going to root for or pick Kent State, you'd be wrong. I'm going to go with the Bruins of UCLA.
Good season for UCLA this year. I'm going to go with UCLA.
Even though, I tell you what drives me crazy with their leading player, his father, with what he's doing in the paper, just talking about how he could take Michael Jordan on when they were, 25 years ago, and how his son is a better player than Steph Curry. That guy is wacko.
Yeah, he is definitely beyond wacko, and of course, they've just got to move on from him as well. All right, UCLA is a consensus. Dayton against Wichita State.
I'm going with the Flyers of Dayton University. Wichita State really has a nice record, but the only team that they really defeated with, I believe, was Illinois State. and their schedule hasn't been as good in the past. They lost 2 or 3 players from the last year. I'm going to go with the Flyers of Dayton.
I'm going to go Wichita State. The record is kind of shiny. I do agree they haven't played a lot of great teams, but I don't know. I'm going with Wichita.
This should be an excellent first-round game. I'm going to take Dayton, but, of course, very close. All right, final, Kentucky versus Northern Kentucky.
Another great game to watch as far as the fans and reaction. You know they're going to have a lot of fans from the state of Kentucky, the Commonwealth of Kentucky, rooting for the University of Kentucky and Northern Kentucky. But there's just so much firepower for the Kentucky. They just tee it up and bring in new people every year. You got to go with Kentucky.
I agree. An outstanding organization. I go with Kentucky.
All right, let's get some miscellaneous stuff. Final 4 predictions. Rick Kiefner.
Well, my Final 4, I've got Duke meeting Notre Dame in the East-West bracket. And in the Midwest-South, I've got Louisville and Carolina. And, all 4 of those teams have played each other. Duke and Notre Dame obviously played in the ACC finals. You had Louisville and North Carolina playing earlier in an ACC matchup. And I'm going with Notre Dame versus Louisville in the finals. So that would be an all AC. Actually, I guess I'm looking at right now. I've got 4 teams from the ACC in the finals, which I didn't think about, but I've got Notre Dame over Louisville.
Excellent. Let's see. Out of the East, I have Villanova facing off against Arizona, and then I have Louisville against UNC. I have Villanova over Arizona and UNC over Louisville. Let's go Tar Heels, national champions.
There you go. All right, I'm going to take Villanova from the East, Arizona from the West, Louisville from the Midwest, and North Carolina from the South. I'm just going to say wide open. It's going to be Louisville, but it could be wide open. All right, miscellaneous stuff. Rick Kiefner, Old Dominion, will they ever make the NCAA tournament again? And what's wrong with the Conference USA? Probably the worst TV package in the country right now.
Well, it's out of their control. ESPN has fired a lot of people, et cetera, and, some of these big contracts that were going on for a long, long, long time, but obviously, like everything else, have been extinguished. But, Old Dominion should have a good team next year. They've got their 4 leading scorers back. They've got two kids they've signed that are supposedly good offensive players. So Jeff Jones is a good coach. He does a good job. So hopefully they can get into that NCAA next year.
But you see here too, Doug, you're measured by making the big dance. If you don't make the big dance, it's almost irrelevant.
That's right. That's right.
What else is intriguing to you about this whole bracket?
Well, I really like the potential matchup of Villanova against Duke in the Elite Eight. I just think that's going to be a game for the ages, and I'm really looking forward to that potential there.
All right, we're going to take a short break for the news right here on Sports Scene. Greg Bicoveris, Rick Kiefner, Doug Parsons will get their final thoughts after the break right here. Also, tunein.com. Type in WHKT to listen on your phone or your computer. Stay tuned.
Interact with Sports Scene on Twitter at Greg Bick. Email the show, bicogb@hotmail.com. Now back to Greg Bicoveris in the Hampton Roads Online Mall.com studios. It's now time for Greg's Highlights, presented by HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com.
All right, final few moments with these two gentlemen right here at GJBTV.com. Click the YouTube link for archive shows. This will be archived later this evening. Also, shop on the marketplace sponsors both of GJBTV.com and also Hampton Roads OnlineMall.com. Browse, shop, visit. You will see the link of Black Pelican right there in the restaurant section of Hampton Roads OnlineMall.com. Save the date. We'll be back next Wednesday for Sports Scene from 12 to 1, all powered by Hampton Roads OnlineMall.com. Browse, shop, visit. Rick Kiefner, thank you once again. I've had you on Sports Highlights, had you on when I worked in Virginia Beach, as well for Red Zebra and this station too several times. Thank you again for being on the show today.
My pleasure. I had a good time. Hopefully all these teams that I pick will win.
Very good. Of course, the audience will get to know you a little bit later on this summer as well. Good friend Doug Parsons right there owns Black Pelican, 2 great restaurants, North Carolina and Virginia both.
Thanks again for having me on today. Come see us at the Black Pelican, 424-3171.
One thing about your restaurant there in Greenbrier, fresh seafood at its best.
Delivered daily.
Very good. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. The weather turned out really good, probably the best day we've had this week as far as the sunshine, and have a great rest of the afternoon.
Thanks a lot, Greg.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a short break. We'll come back for the rest of the show after these messages.
Oh, yeah, this is the place where Washington Wizards basketball comes alive on the radio.
John Wall, edge of the circle, cuts to his right, splits the defenders, drives, 360 under the basket, makes and scores!
Follow John Wall, the Wizards, all season long on their journey through the NBA.
Catch and shoot for three, it's there! It's there!
Check it on Twitter at Dave J Sports or at GC Talks. It is the hashtag radio party right here on your home for Washington Wizards basketball.
Listen on 1650 AM, The Answer. People in Chesapeake and Hampton Roads have come to expect the finest Italian food at Spaghetti Eddie's. In addition to great lunch and dinner served daily, this fine establishment caters to and can host your party. Call 484-7301 for their Taylor Road location and call 410-5500 for their restaurant in Greenbrier. For more, log on to SpaghettiEddiesPizzaCafe.com.
When it comes to automobile service in Hampton Roads, Fink's Car Care is the destination locals have counted on for decades. Family owned and operated, they specialize in transmission service, oil changes, state inspection, radiator service, tires, alignments, and showcase Win Automotive products. Fink's does it all. Military and senior discounts are available. Like them on Facebook and visit them at 2711 Victory Boulevard in Portsmouth. For more, log on to finkscarcare.com and call 485-5555 today.
Mi Hogar is your restaurant for the finest Mexican cuisine in Hampton Roads. At Mi Hogar, everything is prepared fresh in a casual atmosphere. Enjoy traditional favorites such as quesadillas, tacos, burritos, and fajitas, as well as refreshing beverages. Mi Hogar has two locations, 4201 Granby Street in Norfolk and 801 North Battlefield Boulevard in Chesapeake. Call ahead at 640-7705. At Mi Hogar, there is something for everyone.
Now back to Greg Bicaveras and Sports Scene in the Hampton Roads Online Mall.com studio.
All right, once again, this is the March Madness special of Sports Scene. Hope you enjoyed our guests right there, Rick Kiefner and Doug Parsons, as we broke down the bracket the best we could. We'd like to welcome the men and women in uniform serving around the world, listening to today's broadcast in 175 countries and aboard ships at sea on TuneIn.com by typing in WHKT to listen on your phone or your computer live each Wednesday from 12 to 1. Thanks for all that you do. We hope you're enjoying today's version of Sports Scene, all presented by Panda Express right there in Yorktown at 5009 Victory Boulevard. Real ingredients, freshly prepared every single day. They've got delicious entrees like orange chicken, broccoli beef, honey walnut shrimp, grilled teriyaki chicken, black pepper chicken, kung pao chicken right there at Panda Express. They do catering, family feasts, party packs, extra good food, kids meal, side choices, yum, 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 right there at Panda Express, 5009 Victory Boulevard. Go by and see Ken and the friendly staff. Order online at pandaexpress.com. We'll also be talking to Walt Ruff from the Norfolk Admirals here as well momentarily as they wrap up their stretch of the season. Also a few announcements, too, that Rick Kiefner will be filling in for me periodically during the course of the summer. He was just on right here just recently as well. And we'll be doing a Tides segment starting in May with Ian Locke, the PR director for the Tides as well. Panera is now the only nationwide chain that can say every item on their menu is 100% clean, no artificial preservatives, colorings, or flavoring. Panera will deliver to you. Go online as well. Type the address, nearest zip code as well. They also offer catering for large groups at home or the office. Don't wait. Go to their rapid pickup option as well. Delicious soups, sandwiches like grilled cheese, ham and cheese, salads, breakfast like soufflés, bagels, beverages. They've got the great Thai garden chicken wonton soup as well. Again, the key thing there is 100% clean, fresh, open 7 days a week at 6255 College Drive in the Harborview section of Suffolk. Right there, go to PaneraBread.com. Give them a call at 483-3670. All right, this is Sports Scene right here. Greg Bicaveras, glad you're with us. For more of my background, go to gjbtv.com. Hit the YouTube link. Let's welcome our regular Wednesday segment, Walt Ruff, media manager for the Admirals. How are you, my friend?
Greg, doing well, thank you. How are you?
Very good. As you're wrapping up the season here, of course, and it's getting down to the final stretch. And the record right now is 22-34-4. Reading is on the horizon.
Yeah, that's right. It was supposed to be a little bit of a busier week. We were supposed to see the Royals on Tuesday night. However, due to the snowstorm that impacted the Northeast, they decided to postpone that one. The team was able to get out of Pennsylvania just in time to get back here for this weekend's matchup against the Royals. A pretty special weekend for us, coming with lots of promotions.
Yeah, we talked about it, the green ice, right?
Yeah, the green ice is down now. They just layered it on yesterday. It's pretty neat. It's I'd love to hear your comparison on it. I've heard this morning. It looks like mint. I've heard it looks like mouthwash. It's quite the interesting complex going on down here at Scope right now.
Yeah, that's interesting. Mouthwash. How about just St. Patrick's Ice Festival?
Yeah, that'll work. I'm all for it. Hey, you won't find me turning down any suggestion for it at this rate, but it's going to be some good fun. I know I've never seen a game played on green ice before.
That's creative and intriguing as well. Again, last week you did have some distractions there because you had a tournament going on. How did that affect the office? Because that lasted for the entire week.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. I mean, in an overall sense, I would like to think that it didn't really impact the front office a whole lot. For certain, there was more activity going on around the rink. For instance, there's a couple of meeting rooms that Scope will use right next to our front office, and the one turned into the MEAC media room. The one was the staff room. The other one was the meal room. So it didn't really cause any headaches for us. I think the city of Norfolk and both the MEAC representatives deserve a huge kudos for that, because they weren't really in our way at all whatsoever. It was pretty easy. I know you would think with a venue this size holding that type of tournament, you would think that some blunders would bound to be happen, but I think a great job by all parties involved led it to be a pretty smooth sailing week.
Talking to Walt Ruff with the Norfolk Admirals, I guess people tuning in now, any possibilities of postseason?
Well, the team is not mathematically eliminated yet, but it's getting down to the nitty-gritty here. It would take a whole lot of magic for that to happen. Of course, that starts with the Admirals controlling their own destiny and winning pretty much almost every game here the rest of the way out. So the white towel, is not being waved by any means. The team is still going for it. A lot of roster turnover lately. It's kind of an open audition for the 2017-18 season. I know we spoke last week. It's a time of year where players are seniors in college or players in their last year of major junior eligibility are coming into the pro ranks, and that's why we've kind of delved into that pool lately, seeing who can play at this level for next season.
What's the final, the key focus for the organization for the final few home games in March and April?
Well, we really want to let our fan base know that certainly it's not looking promising for playoffs right now, but we want them to know that the future is certain here. I know at the beginning of the year, the team gets sold just before the season opener, and everyone's kind of turning heads at each other saying, oh no, what does this mean? And the team gets off to its worst start in 28 years of franchise history, and everyone's really looking at each other at that point. But we've got some special things planned for this summer. We just unveiled our season memberships for next season. We're getting away from the whole premise of having season ticket holders. We want to have season ticket members. We're going to have exclusive events for them. We just unveiled the pricing, which was the first time in nearly 15 years that there was a change in pricing for the Admirals, and certainly that wasn't all positive news, but some of the events we have working on for either this summer or for during next season, you see a lot of these teams around the league or around the upper ranks, specifically in the NHL, do special events for their season ticket holders, such as fan festivals or select-a-seat days. We've made some in-arena changes for next season in regards to the benches are going to be flip-flopping side to the ice. So it's really just the new ownership and new management wanting to put a stamp on things, and while some of the news may be more difficult for fans to understand right now, it's all with the best and most positive intentions. That much I can promise, and that's the message we want to get across for the rest of the year.
Right, there's something for everyone at the Norfolk Admirals game. You don't have to even be a hockey fan, just so much ambiance, and people like watching the skating too.
Yeah, and that's something great that we're trying to focus on for next year is, to be honest, we all know that this year's promo schedule, with how much was going on with this team over the summer regarding the underlying sale that eventually took place, this year was not the organization's best year, and it did not have its best foot forward. For next year, we have the personnel in place now, and we're not waiting until this summer to start deciding what's going to happen next year. We should have a draft of the ECHL schedule coming in the next few weeks here, and we've already got a promotional schedule kicking around and in the works. Our promotional schedule needed a lot of work for next season, and we're not afraid to admit that, but we have a lot of things lined up for next season that fans either A, have never seen before, or at least have never seen before here, and that we want to treat them to next year, and we want everyone to know that there is something for everyone, whether you're not a hockey fan or not. Come down and try it for the first time, and hopefully there's some sort of promotion that entices you even more so to come on down.
It sounds very intriguing. It seems like you've really adjusted to this area really much, Walt, and that you really love Hampton Roads yourself.
It has been quite the experience, Greg. I'm sure, as you and I know, I just got here in early September. I was in Dallas, Texas last year with the junior hockey program. I'm very grateful for this community. I'm so appreciative of how welcoming they've been to me. We know, as I just said, it hasn't been the best year for Admirals hockey, but as far as on a personal level, I want everyone to know that we are trying and we are turning the page for a new era of this organization, and it couldn't be done without the fans and those who support us every week, whether it's people who have been with us for 30 years or who have just joined us 3 days ago. We need to start appreciating the folks around us a little bit more in this community, and Hampton Roads is really special, and I am indeed very grateful to be here.
Right, we got one more week of our segment. Next week we'll pick this up back again next season as well. Talk about your social media.
Yep, the Norfolk Admirals all across the board, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and then for me personally, Walt Ruff, WALTRUFF, on all of them as well.
All right, well, you got Reading coming up, and of course, Hope Springs Eternal, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be an interesting time here down at Scope.
And thank you for tweeting the shows out. Walt and I always plug them on Twitter. Go ahead and, you talk about how important Twitter is as far as social media. When you gauge social media, Walt, what are you getting the most interaction from?
Well, we've introduced a couple of things that have drummed up some interaction over the course of this year. We've done quite a few bit more ticket giveaways. We have a promotion called Winning Wednesday that I'll be posting in a little bit here on the Admiral accounts. It's a really useful platform to us to kind of either plug things that are coming up or things that fans may not have heard about. For instance, this weekend, we are unveiling our brand new band stage inside Scope. We are taking out an entire section of seats, and we are going to have live music. That's going to start next year, and we're going to decide it'll likely be on either maybe, all weekend games or all Friday games, but we're going to give a preview of that this season and this weekend. And stuff like that I will post on social media to kind of get the fans thinking about or things talking about. So that's been a really useful platform for us this year, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or Snapchat. I'll be the first to admit this was our first year of our Snapchat. I'd like to have that be a little bit more inclusive next season, but we're fairly active on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So for anyone who hasn't checked it out, would love for them to go take a look and tell me what we could be doing better, because I'm all ears.
You had a lot of Sunday road games, but how about the Sunday home games you've talked about?
Yeah, that's something that we have kicked the tires on for next season. It's something that hasn't been done in the Admirals' history in quite some time. I can't say for a fact whether that will or will not be taking place next year because we haven't seen the finalized draft, or we haven't seen any draft of the schedule yet. We're expecting to see that pretty much any day now, but we are looking forward to doing some things. This year, you have 36 home games in the ECHL schedule. We had 9 on Wednesdays this season. That was a killer for us. We need to just mix that up next season. We're experimenting with the possibility of maybe some Thursdays, maybe some Sundays. We're going to mix it up and hopefully some more holiday games.
All right, Walt, all the best to you. We'll talk to you again next Wednesday. Always look forward to it, Walt.
Greg, thank you so much for having me on. We really appreciate it.
Always a pleasure. Walt Ruff right there from the Norfolk Admirals. Have a great day. All right, a local's tradition is CP Shuckers with locations on Shore Drive and Pacific Avenue. People love their prime rib, seafood, and much more. They showcase Major League Baseball, NHL, NBA, college basketball, March Madness headquarters, golf, soccer, tennis. Always great events going on as well. Like both locations on Facebook and log on to cpshuckers.com. Eat or be eaten at CP Shuckers. Great appetizers, burgers, pasta, seafood, all types of great specials. Go by and see Chef Leon, Matt, Mark, and Chris at both locations. Excellent TVs, excellent food, great place to watch March Madness. All right, this is Sports Scene at 12:49. We'll be back with What Teased Me Off and a lot more after this.
When it comes to automobile service in Hampton Roads, Fink's Car Care is the destination locals have counted on for decades. Family owned and operated, they specialize in transmission service, oil changes, state inspection, radiator service, tires, alignments, and showcase Win Automotive products. Fink's does it all. Military and senior discounts are available. Like them on Facebook and visit them at 2711 Victory Boulevard in Portsmouth. For more, log on to finkscarcare.com and call 485-5555 today.
Mi Hogar is your restaurant for the finest Mexican cuisine in Hampton Roads. At Mi Hogar, everything is prepared fresh in a casual atmosphere. Enjoy traditional favorites such as quesadillas, tacos, burritos, and fajitas, as well as refreshing beverages. Mi Hogar has 2 locations, 4201 Granby Street in Norfolk and 801 North Battlefield Boulevard in Chesapeake. Call ahead at 640-7705. At Mi Hogar, there is something for everyone.
Mark your calendar for June 1st through June 4th as Saints Constantine and Helen Greek Orthodox Church in Newport News presents the Newport News Greek Festival. Enjoy authentic Greek food, desserts, beverages, music, dancing, arts and crafts, and much more. This is the 50th anniversary of this signature event on the peninsula, and it will be special. The Newport News Greek Festival is located at 60 Traverse Road, off exit 258B on Route 17 in Newport News. For more, log on to newportnewsgreekfestival.org.
Oh, yeah, this is the place where Washington Wizards basketball comes alive on the radio.
John Wall, edge of the circle, cuts to his right, splits the defenders, drives, 360 under the basket, makes and scores!
Follow John Wall, the Wizards, all season long on their journey through the NBA.
Catch and shoot for 3, it's there! It's there!
Check it on Twitter at Dave J Sports or at GC Talks. It is the hashtag radio party right here on your home for Washington Wizards basketball.
Listen on 1650 AM, The Answer. People in Chesapeake and Hampton Roads have come to expect the finest Italian food at Spaghetti Eddie's. In addition to great lunch and dinner served daily, this fine establishment caters to and can host your party. Call 484-7301 for their Taylor Road location and call 410-5500 for their restaurant in Greenbrier. For more, log on to SpaghettiEddie'sPizzaCafe.com.
Now back to Greg Bicaveras and Sports Scene in the Hampton Roads Online Mall.com studio.
All right, back live right here on Sports Scene. Hope you enjoyed our guests so far. Rick Kiefner, Doug Parsons, and of course Walt Ruff and Buffalo Wild Wings and Newport News. Need I say more? This is your March Madness headquarters right there by Patrick Henry Mall and Jefferson Avenue, 12150 Jefferson Avenue. Give them a call at 249-3999. Go by and see Paul and the friendly staff. Open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner and late night dinner. Great shareables, wedges, fries, and chips. The best in boneless and traditional wings, tenders, burgers and more, wraps and sandwiches, salads as well. Excellent beverages, desserts. They give back to the community always. Wall-to-wall TVs right there at BuffaloWildWings.com. Of course, ordering is very easy. They got a great party menu as well. Really, right there, Buffalo Wild Wings, your home for March Madness. Great wings, delicious food, right there at the Jefferson Avenue location by Patrick Henry Mall. All right, let's get to What Teased Me Off.
What Tees You Off? Presented by GJBTV.com.
All right, with my good buddy Joe Daniel, always our fun time right here. We agree to disagree, but we have fun. Yeah. Objects left on the road when you're driving.
Ooh, man. Yeah.
And you take your eye off the road, and then all of a sudden you feel like your tire got hit.
It's the worst when there's a car in front of you that swerves at the last minute, and you don't see it, and you run over it.
And it blocks your vision, too.
Yeah.
Write this. All right, any video showing harm to anyone, referring to Snoop Doggy Dogg, whatever his name is, not needed, not necessary. You're an old man now. That's very mature.
Yeah, he's like almost 60, isn't he?
No, not that old, but he's getting...
He's in his 50s, isn't he?
Late 40s.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. All right, I went to George Mason University. Listen very carefully. Not Mason. The athletic attire they've been wearing for their basketball games just says Mason. I'm sorry, there's no school called Mason. I went to George Mason University. Repeat, George Mason, not Mason. Constant postponements. People that postpone things all the time.
Yeah, they can get pretty... it's just like, when is this ever going to happen? Is it never going to happen?
We had the One City Marathon in Newport News recently that detour traffic in your normal routine because of marathons taking up several streets and blocks. All you see is cones and police officers.
Yeah, for any holiday, you can pretty much assure that there's going to be some kind of running event because of it.
Yeah, we mentioned objects on the road. How about running over curbs, getting them off shopping center parking lots, please? Please? Front, back, I don't want to run into a curb.
Yeah, or you take a turn just a little bit too tight and it hits that back tire and it kind of just jerks you a little bit.
You'll like this one right here, Joe Daniel. You're holding it right now. Pens that explode in your pockets.
Oh, man.
Or shirt.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and you can't wash it out. I mean, can you even wash it out?
They're done.
Yeah, they're done. You got to throw them away.
I'm sorry, Tide doesn't help that. Having a one-on-one meeting, Joe Daniel, and a third wheel emerges out of nowhere and interrupts.
Or just chimes in. It's just like they just poke out of a corner and then they just interject their opinion. Just like, where did you even come from?
Right. And just because you're talking one-on-one and the door is open, it's still a one-on-one meeting for a reason. It's not a group thing.
I have it where I hate it when, or it tees me off when somebody says, what was that? Or like you said, that third wheel. They actually like interject themselves and say, what are you guys talking about? Or what was that?
Right. Or, it's a better interaction, too. Instead of saying, pardon me or excuse me, will you please repeat that again? I didn't hear you. There's etiquette as far as talking as well.
Right. It's just, I don't want to say, like, don't chime into my conversation at all. I mean, if you have something to say, I mean, absolutely. It's just kind of weird when just two people are talking or three people, and then all of a sudden just some random person shows up and says, what are you guys talking about?
Right. This is what teased me off. Finally, Syracuse not making the NCAA tournament. They beat Duke and Virginia this year. I think they still should have made it. A little up and down the road, but regardless. Also want to thank Outback Steakhouse at 1255 Fordham Drive in Virginia Beach. Go by and see Mike and the friendly staff, 523-4832. Watch the games of March Madness on TV. Get a great steak, seafood, or pasta. Delicious appetizers like coconut shrimp. They've got excellent prime rib, salmon. They got desserts, a kids menu, excellent burgers too, right there at Outback Steakhouse at 1255 Fordham Drive, right in the heart of Virginia Beach in Kempsville. 523-4832. All over social media, of course, is Outback Steakhouse. Delicious food. There's something for everyone. Mike and the friendly staff have a great bar, newly enhanced dining area, great spacious parking lot at 1255 Fordham Drive in Virginia Beach. Have you seen any good movies lately?
I've watched a couple documentaries. I'm a big documentary guy, but I did get into, have you seen Black Mirror? That show is totally just messing me up in the mind. It's kind of like The Twilight Zone, but it's for the 21st century, and each episode is its own little story, so they don't tie together. It's each its own little movie, about an hour long. Some of them are like 45 minutes, but it's all like a psychological thriller aspect of it, all based about technology and the advancements of technology and how it affects or potentially could affect human behavior and human interaction.
Right. I saw Skull, King Kong. Janice and I saw that recently. Excellent, excellent movie. Highly recommended to everybody, of course. Really good movie. King Kong. All the ups to that movie. Great audio, visual, special effects too. Great production qualities. Want to thank our great guest again, Doug Parsons from the Black Pelican Restaurant in Chesapeake, Rick Kiefner, Old Dominion broadcaster, Walt Ruff from the Norfolk Admirals as well. For more, go to gjbtv.com. Hit the YouTube link for archive shows. Tell your friends. At Greg Bick on Twitter, GJBTV, Sports Highlight, WHKT AM 1650, and of course, HR Online Mall. GJBTV.com. My background is on GJBTV.com as well. We'll be back next Wednesday talking about Stratford University and their great new sports program as well, right here on Sports Scene on 1650 AM as well. So for more, log on to GJBTV.com and HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. The games of March are here. March Madness, let it begin. And for Joe Daniel, I'm Greg Bicaveras. Happy Wednesday. We'll talk to you soon.
The best of News Talk Radio in Hampton Roads, AM 1650, WHKT Portsmouth. We are the answer.